Hello guys, hope you are all doing good, and in this video I'm going to design and develop an application called BMI Calculator. This is again a beginner's level app, so come let's start doing it. For that I'm going to create a new project and type in the project name as BMI Calculator. So there you go. At first, as usual, I'm going to change the screen one name. So under properties, change the title one name as BMI Calculator, which is the name of this application. Also change the theme. Now instead of a regular blue color, I'm gonna change a different color. For that you can click on the primary color and select any one of your own, and if you click on this custom you get a wide range of variety of colors to choose, but I'm gonna click on the cyan. And then we are going to add the components required for this app. For that I need a layout setup. Click on the layout, drag and drop a table arrangement and change the columns value as 3. Let the row value be 2 as usual. Click on the user interface, drag and drop a label component. Change the text for label 1 as weight colon space, and also increase its font size to 20. Right. So now let's add a text box component. So inside this text box the user is going to actually enter his weight. So give a new name under the component section. We'll be using it in later part. So I'm gonna rename it as weight text box. We need to provide a hint to the user like what must be entered inside this text box. So change the hint under text box as enter your weight. So we can increase the font size to match the label, and we'll add one more spinner component beside it to give various units of weight. Under elements from string properties, give the different units we're going to add. I'm going to add kilogram and pounds. So I'm giving two different elements separated by commas. So the same set of steps is going to be repeated for the height. So once again add a label component, change the text as height this time, and also increase its font size to 20. Add a text box component and rename it as height text box. Give the hint as enter your height. One more spinner component to give the different units of height. So change the elements from string as centimeters, comma, meters, comma, inches, and feet. Alright. So we'll add a button to do the calculation. So drag and drop a button component and rename it as calculate button. Change the text as calculate under properties, And we'll add one more layout component. In this time, we are going to add a vertical arrangement. Click on user interface. So first we need a label to display the calculator BMI value. So rename this label as BMI and change the text as 0. We can increase the font size. And below that, I'm going to add a slider component. Okay. Change the minimum value of slider to 16 and maximum value to 40. So between these two values, usually the BMI lies on. So give the values accordingly. And also change the slider properties to fill parent. We'll add one more label component to display whether the user is underweight, overweight, or normal. So I'm going to rename it as info label. Change the font size to 20. And we don't need any text actually. So I'm going to leave it empty. This looks quite odd, so I'm gonna arrange everything to the center of the screen. For that, click on screen 1 under components and change align horizontal to center and vertical to center as well. Right, so that's it. We have created a designer window. Now let's move on to the block section. Under block section, so first we need to program for, initially when the user opens the screen, I want this whole set of vertical arrangement to go invisible, because only when the user clicks on calculate button, this vertical arrangement pops out and displays the information. So as soon as the screen 1 is initialized, set the vertical arrangement visibility to false. Right? So now when the user clicks on the calculate button after entering all the values and selecting the required spinner component, he'll be clicking on the calculate button. So when the user clicks on calculate button, I need to do a conditional check to determine whether the user had selected kilogram or pounds or centimeter or meter or any one of the selection and spinner component. In order to find that, I need a conditional check. So click on control under built-in blocks, drag and drop, and if then block. So first I'm going to check whether the user has selected kilograms or pounds. But before that, as soon as the user clicks on the calculate button, I need this vertical arrangement setup to be visible. So duplicate this block, change its visibility to true and attach it inside when calculate button is clicked. Alright, so first let's do the conditional check. To do that, click on logic under built-in, drag and drop an equal to block to the if statement. At first, I'm going to check whether the spinner 1 selection is kilogram, and then write the formula accordingly. So we need to do two kinds of conditional check here, whether the user selection is kilogram or pounds. And inside these two selection, again we need to check on whether the user has selected centimeter, meter, or any other unit available under height spinner component. So once again, I'm going to add one more if then block and place it inside the then statement. Duplicate the previous block and instead of spinner 1, change it to spinner 2. Now this time change the selection value as meters. For meters and centimeters, we have formula available in Google, like how to convert from meter or centimeter and calculate the BMI. You can always check the Google. So I'm gonna straight away give the blocks for blocks required. The calculator BMI value is going to be displayed using this particular BMI label, right? So go to that BMI label, drag and connect set BMI label text to. Go to math block, drag and connect a division block. So this is the formula for calculating BMI. That is weight, whatever the value entered in weight text box divided by squaring the value entered in height text box. If the unit selected is meters and kilograms. Now we need to program what if the user has selected centimeters under the weight unit spinner component. For this, there is a minor change in the formula. Like instead of directly squaring the height text box, I need to divide it with a value of 100 because it differs in unit. And then we'll square it to find out the BMI value. Now duplicate this if then once again, and this time change the spinner to selection to feet. For feet, instead of dividing the value entered in height text box, I'm gonna multiply it with a value of let's say 0.3048, and last I'm gonna give the spinner to selection as inches. For inches there is no big change here, but only in the value. In the value text box, instead of 0.3048, I'm gonna enter the value as 0.0254. So that's it. So we have program for what if the user selection is kilogram in spinner 1 and the various different options in spinner 2. Now this entire set of procedures are going to be repeated once again for the spinner 1 selection as pounds. So simply duplicate this entire if then block. Sorry. Yeah. And then place it below the previous block, that is under entire if then. Now here we need to make some small changes, that is instead of kilogram I'm gonna give the value as pound. Other than that, there are some minor change in formula. which is we need to multiply the value being entered in weight text box with a value of 0.454 and then do the calculation. For that, click on math block, and wherever we have placed the weight text box, I'm gonna add a multiplication block, that is weight multiplied by 0.454. So replace this particular block wherever we have placed the weight text box. So we have written the program for calculating the BMI value. We have one more thing yet to program, which is the vertical arrangement, that after calculating the BMI value, I need to display the slider component and the info label as well. For that, I'm going to do some more conditional checks for finding out whether the user is overweight, underweight, or normal. So click on control once again, drag and drop one more if then block. That is to check whether the BMI text is lesser than any particular value. For that, I'm going to make use of the math block this time because we need to compare some of the values. So now change the math value block to less than symbol. If the BMI text value is lesser than 18.5, then it is underweight. So inside this value block, type in 18.5. And according to the BMI text value, the thumb position needs to be adjusted, right? In the slider component, we have given the default thumb position as 30 because that is the mid value between 16 and 40. Now, according to the calculated BMI value that is being displayed in the BMI label, my slider thumb position is going to be adjusted. So click on slider 1 and drag and drop, set slider 1 thumb position to whatever the value being displayed in the BMI text label. And then I'm going to display the info label, that whether the user is overweight or normal or even underweight. For that, click on info label, drag and drop the setter block called set info label text to, and type in as underweight, because if the user's BMI value is less than 18.5, the result is underweight. So the same set of steps are going to be repeated. So once again, duplicate this if then block. And here we need to do one more check, that is the value lies between 18.5 and 25. So for that, we need to add AND logic, because only if both the conditions get satisfied, it will proceed to the then statement. That is, the BMI value is greater than or equal to 18.5 and lesser than 25. Right? So this time the info label text is normal. Right? So once again, one more conditional check, but this time if the value is greater than 25. And we don't need any AND block. Set the info label text as overweight. So that's it. We have come to the end of this project. Now let's do the testing.
This is how the output is going to be displayed on your mobile screen. The user needs to enter his weight, but before that he needs to select the exact unit. So since the first option been already selected using the spinner component, I'm going to change the unit of height alone. I'm going to specify the height as feet, and then I'm going to enter weight. Let's say I'm going to enter 65, and then enter the height as 6 feet. And then when the user clicks on the calculate button, you can see the slider component's thumb position is getting adjusted according to the value specified in the BMI text label, and the information label displays the exact value, which is normal. So that's it. We have come to the end of this video, and in between if you get any error, the first thing you need to check is the values you have specified under elements from string in the designer window, because these things are highly case sensitive, because we are once again specifying those values in blocks window. Those things needs to match exactly. And if you have any other doubt, please send your queries to futurebots@gmail.com. Thank you.